Hi, it's John from Crafts by John UK. Today I'm going to do you a technique video. I'm going to show you how I've coloured this jumper on this card that I've made. I'm not going to show you the rest of the card, just really concentrate on the jumper. You can see I've coloured it in a red with a purple border at the neck and the sleeves and the bottom. And then I've left the body of the image sort of white with just a few little highlights, orange for the nose, a little bit of blue on the scarf. And I've left the actual wording white. What I wanted to demonstrate today was how to use watercolour pens. So you can get a darker effect at things like the seams and the corners, the bottoms, the edges of the sleeves by using very, very little of the pen and pulling it out with water. So that's what I'm going to show you today, how you can create that interesting kind of worn, lived-in fabric effect. Okay, I've got my Arteza watercolour pens here. These are real brush pens that have a brush tip, which is really easy to use. I've also got a standard water pen. This is the one that actually came with the Arteza set. And I've got my stamped image here, which is this jumper with a little Let It Snow motif on it. I have heat embossed this with clear embossing powder. So it's got a kind of raised edge. I don't know if you can really see that, but that also helps with the colouring, which is good. I'm going to start by laying down this red colour. I'm going to work portion of the garment, portion of the garment, portion of the garment. It's easier to do that. If you lay down the red colour and then you try and pull it once it's really dry, it gets harder. So it's better to do it section by section. Also worth saying, I'm going to be cutting this out. So it doesn't matter if I slightly go over the line. So I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about being precise. So I'm just going to get the red, and I'm just going to lay some down, blobbing it kind of around the edges where I want the darkest colour. Sort of fading that out as I go up the sleeve, and a little bit in the corner where it would be darker under the armpit. I then take my essential supplies, which is a piece of kitchen towel and my water pen. I'm not squeezing any water out of my pen. I'm just going to use what's coming down on the brush. And I start by going over the red that I've laid down. You can see straight away that colour starts to pull out. All you do is just colour the panel in. If it gets a bit too wet, take some water off, just dabbing it very gently on your kitchen towel. When you get up to the top, again, you'll see it will pick up that dark red colour because it's found a load of new ink or paint. And basically, that's it. Now, if you pull that colour out, if it's a bit too dark or you want it lighter, take some of the colour off, just dab it onto the kitchen towel so that what's left is the kind of effect that you want. Colour laid down darker in the areas you want and lighter in the areas you want. There you go. That's our first panel. It's also got the colour going down in the kind of direction of the garment. So then to do our second panel, again, we're just going to lay some red down, kind of around the edge of the shape. I think where the colour would be darker, kind of bunching at the seams, again under the arm, under the armpit, down, and then kind of around the corners. You just need enough colour so that you can pull it out onto the rest of the garment. That will do. Right, now, this is a bit fiddly because you've got to be careful around this shape and you've got to be careful around this lettering. How I tend to do this, I start at the top and kind of work my way down, trying to do sort of area by area. Don't worry too much if you do go over the edges of the snowman, because you can always just clean your water brush, go in with some clean water, pull that colour out and dab it off with a kitchen towel. So you can see I'm just kind of pulling that colour, going over the same area. Going to rotate my project, pull the colour away from the edge there, bring it in towards the snowman's scarf. Kind of just pulling that around. Do an edge, then do the area. Again, pulling the colour. It's useful to sort of dot in between letters and things like that. sort of lays down a little bit of water that you can then manipulate. But this is a very quick colouring technique. It takes almost no time at all, and it ends up with quite a nice effect, as you saw on the card. This is also particularly good, I find, on natural things like fabric, etc. Also very good on animals, because you can get a real gradient in the sort of texture of feathers or skin or fur, whatever it is. But yeah, you don't need much colour. See how much I'm pulling that out? Pulling that colour up into the project. That way you get a dark at the edge and then almost a fade, which takes no effort whatsoever. If you've got a lot of colour on your brush, go to a different area. Rather than saturate one area, use it and sort of spread the wealth. This is quite a frugal way of card making as well, or colouring, because you're not going to use loads and loads of colour, but you're going to get the maximum out of the colour for the area that you're working in. Don't worry if it looks a bit blocky, because you're going to probably even it out at the end. Just concentrate firstly on getting colour in all the places. So you can see I keep kind of going back over the same bits. That just evens out the colour, because as you colour each section and it starts to dry, you do get natural edges. But if you keep working it and keep going over it, that kind of fills that in. If you say, or as I said before, sorry, if you feel that your colour is a little bit dark compared to the area you're working in, just dab it on the kitchen towel, take some off. Super easy to control. Again, if it's too pale, go and grab some colour from the edge. Look at that, that doesn't sit well with what's next to it. Take a little bit of colour off, even it out. And then when you're finished, if you just then kind of go over, you can even out the colour. So here, I've got a really horrible hard line. I'm going to go over that and now even that out. So just work your way over it, particularly on the edge where the hardness is. I'm going to take that up to the snow pit, snowman's armpit, snow pit. That's a new word I think I just invented. But see, just by going around, working that area, you can get rid of that hard line. So kind of work your way all around, going over again. That evens out any of those kind of nasty seam lines you get when it dries. You need some decent paper for this. This is specific watercolour paper that can take quite a lot of water. If you don't use a decent paper, you'll find it starts to buckle. You may even get bobbling kind of where you're working it. So it's definitely best to use a decent paper. There we go. That's kind of our main panel done. This area here still looks a little bit ropey, so I'm just going to go in here, kind of even that up a little bit. And on something with texture, this process does add a kind of a texture, because you're getting bobbles and stripes, and it's not going to be a flat surface, you know, it's a jumper, so it would have texture. So that actually works quite well. There we go. And again, look, I'm looking here and seeing a line that I don't like. I can just go over it and take it out. Okay. Pretty even. I just need to tidy up that bottom bit. And it's a bit darker at the bottom, which overall a jumper probably would be. I'm just going to clean that now. So I'm going to squeeze my water brush, drop some water, dry it off a little bit, and then I'm just going to go into my snowman's arm here, and you see I'm just going to go over that very gently, there and there, and then I'll use a dry piece of kitchen towel to just dab it. You see that colour show you that closely, has come out. So that's a really easy way, as I said before, of cleaning up if you make any mistakes. Similarly, in the S of Snow here, I've got a little bit of red inside there. Just dab it a little bit and then blot it. Okay, and then our last panel, again, quite simply, just go in with the red. I'm going to do a bit under the arm, and that's enough probably. And then just go in, pull that red out, and spread it over the project. So it doesn't really matter if I go over the lines here, because I am going to be cutting this out. But think about fabric, think about where it's dark. It'd be dark under the arms and it would look darker on the edges. So that's the kind of look we're trying to go for. Again, I'm just going to tidy up here so it kind of looks uniform. And then just tidy up around the twiggy fingers. Actually, I need to colour those in. I've just realised they're actually twigs and I've left them white. I need to colour those brown, don't I? Anyway, right, so that's our red done. Any areas that you see that sort of end up drying a little bit strange looking, you can always go back in and fix. Okay, that's red done. So I'm just cleaning my brush. Straight in now with the purple. Oh, actually, I need to do the red in the back. So at the back of the jumper, I'm actually just using the red neat in the back of the jumper, thinking that the inside is going to be darker than the outside because it doesn't get wear. And then I'm going in with the purple. I just did this straight out of the brush. You could always put it onto an acrylic block and use that. Just gone over the red there in my haste, but I'm just going to tidy that up. Okay. And then again the purple at the bottom. Just going to take that a little bit off there. I quite like this sort of gorilla colouring. This dark blue I used for the buttons. The orange I used for the nose. And this blue I used for the scarf. Just some stripes, which obviously I'm taking a little bit more care over. Just doing alternating stripes, and I will do the tassels at the bottom. Go. And actually I will find a brown just to do those arms because I had missed them on my previous ones, but they should definitely be brown. There we go. That's done. So you can see you've got nice texture. You've kind of got a bit of an effect going down, which would mirror the arm. You've got your snowman covered and you've got a nice purple border. And once that's cut out and mounted on the card, it looks quite good. It's kind of 3D because I've mounted it on foam pads, as you can see there. I need to go in and just colour the arms brown on this one because I completely missed that, which was really clever of me. And that's just showing you a very quick way colouring with these Arteza watercolour pens. They're really good. I've had them probably about, I think, 3 years now, and they're not dried up yet. Some of them are getting a little bit dry, but most of them are absolutely fine. So I'd absolutely recommend them, and they come in different sets. I think I bought the set of, I think it was 96, which is really good. And they come in trays. I've actually still got them all in the trays, but you get all the different colours, which is really great. Anyway, there you go. That's today's little technique video, just showing you how I've coloured that with Arteza pens in a very quick style. And it's something, you know, you can keep working on this until you're happy with the effect, the lay of the ink, you know, and that's the advantage of watercolour. And you can dab that colour off as well if you want to lighten, which I've just done there. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that, and catch me again. There are other technique videos on my YouTube channel, and there are also lots of finished cards showing you how I make the final product like this. So some videos I'll do a little bit of technique about an element and then show you how I just finish it off on the card. On this one, that background is sprayed brush-os and mica stains. It's got a real shimmer on it, which I think you can probably just catch there. But anyway, yeah, check out my other videos, and thanks for watching. Cheers.